Okay, so this is the second video that I'm going to be doing on paragraphs, and I just want to go over a few things now. So first off, it's very sort of basic. A paragraph, whether you're writing a paragraph in a letter of complaint or if you're writing a paragraph in a story, doesn't matter. Each paragraph has a topic and everything in that paragraph relates to it. Sometimes we call this a topic sentence or point sentence, and it usually comes at the start. And the idea of this is, of course, that while there is going to be like an overall idea behind your work, so if you're writing a letter of complaint, for instance, about a broken computer, everything in that letter is going to have something to do with that broken computer, really. However, it's looking at the smaller details, so it's looking at various different things around that broken computer. So it could be about what's actually gone wrong with the computer, it could be about customer service, it could be about what you'd like to be done about the broken computer, and those are going to basically form your paragraphs. Okay, so when you start planning, it's a good idea to start with the topic sentence or point sentence of each paragraph. So that's a really good start when you're sort of planning. Some plans, some really good plans, are literally just bullet points of, okay, what's the topic in paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done. Sometimes that's all you need. Okay? And basically, you need to make sure your sentences in that paragraph relate back to it. Okay? So, last thing you want is to be making too many points in a paragraph. 1 point per paragraph, expand on it, move on to the next paragraph. You do not want your reader to have to read through 3 or 4 different points in a paragraph and not really completely understand what links to what. That's why we use paragraphs in the first place, to sort of break up a longer text so we know that everything in paragraph 1 is about something that's slightly different to everything in paragraph 2. So, moving on, once we've got a topic sentence or a point sentence, we then go to expand on it. And when do we start a new paragraph? Well, we start a new paragraph when we move on to a new topic. Now, sometimes that's fairly easy to figure out. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky to figure out, which is why I sort of urge you plan things. To go back to our example about a letter of complaint about a broken computer, you know that when you stop talking about what's actually wrong with the computer and start talking about what you have done about it, that is a shift. There is now a new topic. The new topic has moved from the broken computer to what you'd like done about that broken computer. So you'd start a new paragraph. So there we go. That is, broadly speaking, the basics of when you start a new paragraph. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail now. Okay, so I also want to talk about introductions and conclusions. So these are a sort of special type of paragraph, really. What you're doing here is, with your introduction, you're not necessarily making a point as such. Neither are you with your conclusion. So with your letter of complaint example, with the sort of broken computer, your introduction is just explaining why you're writing, really. Newspaper article, so if you're asked to write an article for a magazine or a newspaper, then your introduction is just going to give you a sort of overview of the entire thing, okay? And basically the conclusion does a similar-ish job. So the conclusion in a letter of complaint tends to be quite straightforward, quite simple, but it just sort of ties it all up and it makes it clear that this is the end of the letter. There's no more coming here. And it will just say something along the lines of, I'm sure, something like, I expect to reply soon, or I look forward to hearing from you soon regarding this matter. That's all you need, okay? And again, with an article, if the newspaper article is, say, for instance, given an opinion, so you're arguing a particular point of view, which is the most common one that you're going to be asked to write, or you're asked to write about, I don't know, a childhood hero, which again is quite another popular topic. then your conclusion just sums everything up. It sort of just goes over everything you've already spoken about. Okay, so basically, with these, with introductions and conclusions, because both of these kinds of paragraph, and we're talking here more about, so we're mostly thinking about articles here. What they do is they sort of give an overview of the entire text. Okay, so the entire thing you're writing. Because of this, you can write the entire thing, then go back and write your introduction. Because as we've spoken about in the planning video, basically your plan is going to look very similar to the final product. It is going to, be very, very similar to the final product, but you may decide halfway through writing that you actually want to switch the plan about a bit. You might want to talk about something else instead a little bit, or something else might be more important. So what you can always do, and this does require some time management, is just leave some space at the start of your article and go back and fill in your introduction, write your introduction once you've got a better idea of everything that's going to be going on here. Okay? So, yeah, those are your introduction and conclusion paragraphs. As I said, in most types of text you're going to be asked to write, so your letters of complaint, your emails, your reports, etc. Those are fairly standard. However, in an article or something where you're telling a bit more of a story or getting across a bit more of an opinion or something a bit more like an essay where you're writing to persuade, you may want to leave space and go back once you've finished the entire thing and once you know what the full shape of what you're writing is going to look like, and do your introduction. Because as we've spoken about, an introduction is giving that summary. So very quickly here, I think we've got a little bit more time left on this recording. I'm just going to show you what I mean by some of this, specifically to do with topic sentences, paragraphs, etc, etc, etc. And if you did want to have a go at doing this activity at home, please feel free to do so. So we're imagining here we've been asked to write an article for a local paper. Okay? It could be an article, it could be a letter into the editor. It doesn't really matter. But what we're really being asked to do here is give our opinion on this topic. So, starting off, obviously, what you need to do is decide whether you believe this is fair or not, or whether you're somewhere on the fence, and draw your plan from that. And if you need a bit more help with planning, please do have a look, because we do have some videos on planning. But if we have a look here, basically, I'm going to approach this arguing that it's not fair, okay? And again, it doesn't really matter whether you agree or disagree. The important thing is you've got your opinion down and you're backing it up. So I'm just going to sort of bullet point a few reasons why I think this isn't fair. So first off, I'm going to put cost of taking kids away on holiday during school holidays. Benefits of holidays for kids, more to life than school. And I'm just going to sort of just run through a list of particular things here, really. Fines always hurt poorer people more than richer ones. We may see it more like an inconvenience. And lastly, I'm going to put, sort of like, shouldn't be job of the state to say when you can take your kids away on holiday. So I've got 4 points there. Now as I'm going through, as I said not long ago, as I'm going through I may change that particular order around, I may decide to do something a bit different, I may bring in a different point, or I may lose one of those. But for the purposes of this, we're going to assume here that I've gone through this and I have basically written up this essay as it appears here. So I've got one paragraph on this where I talk about the holiday costs during school holidays. I've got one paragraph where I'm talking about the benefits for kids and there's more life in school. I've got one paragraph about fines always hurting people who are poorer than richer, who might just see it as more like an inconvenience. And I've got one paragraph where I'm talking about it shouldn't be the job of the government to say when you should take your kids away on holiday. So if you want to, have a bit of a pause and have a go at coming up with an introduction to this. Remember, an introduction needs to sort of basically summarise everything you're going to say. So yeah, I mean, this is what I came up with. You might be able to do better, really, I don't know. But broadly speaking, if you read through this, you'll see that all of those points that I've made there, those bullet points, they are in my introduction. I've mentioned them. I've talked about the cost of taking kids away on school holidays. I've talked about the benefits of holidays, who finds hit the hardest, and who gets a say in where you take your children on holiday, you're the government. So this is a good introduction to a newspaper article, okay? It wouldn't necessarily be a good introduction to a letter, but it's a good introduction to a newspaper article because newspaper articles are written in this way. They'll have an introduction which sums up an awful lot of what is in the story. And of course, my readers are going to read on from that and they're going to have a paragraph about the cost of taking kids away, the benefits of holidays, then a paragraph about the benefits of holidays for kids, and so on and so forth. And that's how it works, okay? And this is exactly why sometimes I recommend people go back and write the introduction paragraph after you've written everything else. So there we go, just to sort of sum up here. Each paragraph needs a topic. Make sure everything in that paragraph relates to that topic. Topic sentences and points usually come at the start of these paragraphs, and that's why it's such a good idea to plan. A plan can look literally just like that, just points you're going to expand on. So each of those points tells me I need a paragraph on it. Okay? Introductions and conclusions. Special type of paragraph. Most important with things like newspaper articles or somewhere where you're arguing your opinion. And as we discussed, in that instance, your opening paragraph, your introduction, is basically giving you a summary of the entire text. So there we go.